Hi ladies, this is Mrs. Blaufuss, and this video is for October 8th, 2019. And today we're talking about complementary and supplementary angles. So let's just review and let's define these two terms. So if you remember, complementary angles is a pair of angles that sum to 90 degrees. And supplementary angles is a pair of angles that sums to 180 degrees. So we're going to use these two terms to find missing angle measures. If you remember the term adjacent, remember adjacent from our last lesson means that they share a side and a vertex. So in this first example, here's the vertex T. All of the angles are going to share this vertex T. Okay, they all are going to be formed at that vertex. So it says to name a pair of adjacent complementary angles. So we're looking for a pair of angles that sums to 90 degrees. And shares the side and vertex. Okay, so if we look at this angle right here, STV and VTR, they share a vertex, they share a side, and 60 plus 30 is 90 degrees. So there is our pair of complementary adjacent angles. Now in our next example, we're naming a pair of non-adjacent supplementary angles. Okay, so all of the angles are going to be at this vertex, so they're going to share a vertex, but we're looking for a pair of angles that does not share a side. And the two angles have to add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so here's one angle, 120 degrees, and here's a 60-degree angle. Together, they equal 180 degrees, and we can see that they don't share a side, so they're non-adjacent. So angle BFC and angle AFE are non-adjacent supplementary angles. And there's a typo here, so let's just correct that. I know this is a typo because the center letter has to be the vertex. Okay, so let's just say find the measure of angle that is supplementary to CFD. Okay, so first let's actually find what CFD is. So here's angle CFD, C to F to D. Okay, so that's 45 degrees. And so in order to be supplementary, I need some angle plus 45 has to equal 180. So I know that my x, my unknown angle that's going to be supplementary to that 45-degree angle, is 180 minus 45, or x is equal to 135 degrees. Now I don't have an angle actually on here that's 135 degrees, but in order to find an angle that's supplementary, it has to be 135 degrees because otherwise the two wouldn't add up to 180. So supplementary just means the angles add up to 180 degrees. Okay, let's look at this first example. It says angles A and B are complementary. So let's stop right there and figure out what this actually means. Okay, angle A and B are complementary. That means the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B has to equal 90 degrees. And it says the measure of angle A is x. And it says the measure of angle B is 5x. So now I'm going to use substitution to solve for x. So the measure of angle A is x. Just color coordinate and make these the same color. And the measure of angle B is 5x. And together they equal 90. So I can go ahead and type a new equation and say x plus 5x equals 90. I don't like my font. So we'll change that. There we go. X plus 5x equals 90. I can combine like terms, and I get 6x is equal to 90. And then I can divide both sides by 6, and I get x is equal to 15. So here I'm just solving for x, so there's no units, but when I actually say the measure of angle, let's change my font. The measure of angle A is equal to 15 degrees. And the measure of angle B is equal to 5 times 15 degrees, which means the measure of angle B, 5 times 15 is 75 degrees. We'll just put our degree symbol in. Okay, the next term, supplement postulate. We've used this before, but we're just going to actually give it a name and call it the supplement postulate. And all this says is that if a pair of angles is a linear pair, then the angles are supplementary. Okay, let's look at this next example. We're going to use that supplement postulate. So it says angle 1 and angle 2 form a linear pair. So let's just sketch that. There's a line, a linear pair has a shared vertex and a shared side. So let's call this angle 1, and we'll call this angle 2. Okay, it says angle 1 is 57 degrees. And we don't know angle 2, so let's just call it x. But we do know that they form a linear pair, and that means that they're supplementary. So x plus 57 equals 180. So x is equal to 180 minus 57. And therefore, x is equal to 123 degrees, which means the measure of angle 2 equals 123 degrees. Okay, let's try a couple more examples. So example number 3, this box right here indicates that it's 90 degrees. Okay, so we're just going to note these two angles are complementary. Okay, that means they sum to 90. Okay, so let's, with these two angles that we're given, we'll say this is angle 1, this is angle 2. We always know that the measure of angle 1, a pair of complementary angles, sum to 90 degrees. So the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 90 degrees. The measure of angle 1 is 5x minus 9. The measure of angle 2 is 6x. And together, they're 90 degrees. So here we can combine our like terms, and we get 11x plus 9 equals 90. Oops, 11x minus 9, sorry. 11x minus 9 is equal to 90. We can add 9 to both sides, and we get 11x equals 99. And therefore, when we divide both sides by 11, we get x is equal to 9. Okay, so the measure of angle 1 is going to be 5 times x, which we said was 9, minus 9. And that equals 36. And the measure of angle 2 is 6 times 9, which is 54. Oops. There we we go, 54 degrees and 36 degrees. There we go. Okay, with the definition supplementary and using your angle addition postulate on your own, you can pause this video while you work, and you can unpause for the solutions. Okay, so the first thing you should have is the angle addition postulate saying measure of angle S plus measure of angle G equals 180 degrees. And then secondly, the measure of angle S is equal to 6x plus 10, measure of angle G is equal to 15x plus 23. From there, we can use substitution. 6x plus 10 is the measure of angle X, 15x plus 23 is the measure of angle G. And from there, we can combine like terms and solve for our variable. Okay, and then lastly, measure of angle S is 6 times x, which is 7 plus 10, and that's 52 degrees. And then measure of angle G is 15 times 7 plus 23, and that measures 128 degrees. They're supplementary, and to double check your algebra, make sure that 52 plus 128 is 180 degrees, which it is. So please jot down any questions or concerns you have and come see me during dasher time, or we can address them in class next time I see you. Thank you.